first match.
That's right, Cloud9 are coming into this, and I think they look like a very hot team. They had very strong performances leading up to this tournament, and, well, they're now here in the upper bracket up against an opponent that has struggled throughout the year. I mean, Aurora, this squad, you know, different organizations going back to Talon or T1, but, like, they're supposed to be the premier Southeast Asian team, and it has been the worst year for them yet. No places past 7th, 8th. No top 6s whatsoever throughout the year.
It's been a rough couple of years for C in general. Like you said, this is the team that has stood above the pack. They've been the most consistent by far. Their ceiling is extremely high. I don't think anybody doubts that.
Yep.
But like you said, I mean, how do you get to that top of the ceiling if you can't perform well on land, get the experience, gain the confidence? This is a C9 squad that everybody's saying they are confident. They know what they want to do. They're picking heroes for them. They don't care about what their opponents are playing. I think they're a little bit outside the meta as well.
Yep.
If you look at no one's hero pool, if you look at how they're picking supports and what they're doing with them, they're not afraid to pick things like the Bane, the Winter Wyvern. DM has been playing his hero pool like the Enigma, the Centaur, Timber, what he's comfortable with. This is a team that's going to do what they're going to do, and you have to be the ones to upset that pattern and come to them and disrupt that. I also want to note that I think when we look at this C9 squad, there's a lot that's going well for them right now, but to me, what stood out the most has been the synergy they've developed over the course of the year. And for me, particularly, between No One and DM. I think DM was a player where he played on that OG stint for a bit, and he had multiple rosters before that, and nothing really clicked super well for him. This is the first roster I've seen where he is actually just shiny, and he's been overlooked to a degree. This is currently the player with the highest KDA in the tournament as an off-lane. It's absurd. It's over 11 right now, I think. This guy just doesn't die in games. So if he gets to teamfight alongside No One, they have their two bruisers. This is another game where you have like Centaur, Earth Spirit. We're seeing a lot more of these two frontline stunners. These are deadly combinations. They start to roll over you in a team fight. You just get routed very quickly. So that's the threat that Aurora are dealing with here. And they have some stopping power to deal with it between the Mars and the Treant. They're going to have to make good use of it.
Yeah, I like that you pointed out DM's history just because, I mean, this guy was looked at, you know, a number of years ago as, you know, one of those rising stars coming out of the Eastern European region.
Yeah, I looked at him.
You looked at him.
I picked him up.
And he had a very rough streak of teams, including your own. So
yeah, I did him no favors.
Yeah.
We knew he was good back then. Like, I'll say that much, you know, give me some credit. Ali
is going to go down, and that'll be your first blood for Kataomi, one of the players who makes up the very interesting hero pools that Cloud9 have tended to draft. I would say most of the unique heroes comes out of him and No One. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think Fishman's hero pool is also pretty unique compared to a lot of the other fives at this tournament.
Sure.
Like, he's not traditionally this kind of backline saving support, which is where I think a lot of the meta's gone. He plays his melee heroes, he plays his Clockwork Banes, you know, he's going to get in there. I respect that playstyle. I think it makes the rest of your team feel pretty good when this guy's always the first in the fight. But I agree, a lot of their games come down to what No One and Kataomi are playing and what they can do in that team fight.
And this is definitely a mid-hero that has been on the rise a little bit, but Cloud9 scouted it early. They played it throughout the year. They have this stint where they were playing it a good 6 months ago, and it's really interesting they stopped playing it because they were doing nothing but winning with the hero.
I think it's very strong. I think it's an underrated mid. I mean, you want to get it later in the draft, but it can be hard to deal with. I think Shaker's similar. Like, Shaker in a very good mid-Earthshaker game, he takes the game over. Yeah. Like, it's a hero that can scale, it deals a hybrid amount of physical and magic damage, can give you the big AoE presence. His laning tends to be pretty strong on mid with the Water Rune and Totem abuse. Like, this is a lane where both heroes are kind of just going to free farm. I do think, as Astini said, the rotation power probably favors Earth Spirit, comes online faster, but maybe that mid-game punch can be stronger for the Shaker if he gets a fast blink treads.
We can see them pretty close when it comes to CS. Not too much surprise, though, that the Earthshaker is walking away with more denies, just the nature of the totem spam, but we'll see whether or not the Earth Spirit is able to even things out through the rotation power that you and Astini talked about. Meanwhile, the side lanes are going all right. This Luna, though, has been tearing up the tournament. Cloud9 opted to pick up the Luna here, and she's already off to a great start, 19-5. Do you agree with Fear? And that this is kind of like an S-tier carry for the tournament?
I mean, the win rate tells you all you need to know right now. Nobody has answers to what Luna's providing. Fishman, no answers for the right-click.
Well, maybe a Fairy Fire is good enough an answer, and he actually drops a Blood Grenade as he walks away, hitting both Q and Jab, slowing him down long enough that Watson's able to pick up the kill. 1 kill, maybe 2. He's going to be speared back into the tower, but he could still go for the kill on Jabs. He's healthy enough for that much. He's missing out on a fair bit of lane, and Jabs making the long run through the river. So Watson's going to head back and pick up some creeps. Fishman does manage to hit him with the Deluge here, slowing him down.
It's
but
a fate worse than death in some ways.
Yeah.
Jabs is not happy about this. Also note that bottom water rune got denied by Fishman with an illusion. Fear was talking about the skill ceiling of this hero. It is really high if you can put these illusions to use. Like we've seen things like Wisdom runes get denied, water runes get denied, courier kills, all this stuff. You can send these illusions around the map and get work done with it. And it counts for a lot in these early games. 23 Savage. Ooh. Not having a fun time on this lane. In fact, I think Aurora are not having a fun time in this laning phase overall. All 3 of Cloud9's cores are sitting atop the net worth chart. Feeling pretty about this laning phase. CS is all favoring them as well, and I think it's only going to get better. Like these 2 side lanes in a Centaur Luna, if you get past the level 3, you kind of only get stronger. You're looking at a level 5 beam timing, which is very powerful. A very fast hero during the nighttime as well. You're looking at a Centaur who, once you get to bracers, you're not forcing him off the lane. They're strong side lanes as they continue to scale here. I think Aurora are going to have to look for Snapfire rotation.
Oh no! Even the neutral's playing against 23 Savage as it hurricanes him right into DM Stomp.
Brutal. Fishman continuing to harass the runes. Won't be able to contest it. Still, you got to look towards Q here. I mean, if there's one guy on this roster that can make some plays happen, kind of recover a little of this laning phase, I'm looking at the Snapfire. High damage early support that can sync up with the Treant, try and bail out these lanes, but that
needs to do something soon.
Yeah,
that safe lane is struggling, so if he doesn't win this lane, he maybe needs to make the rotations happen. Q turns around, throws out a blast. Lorinoff, yeah, these rotations aren't going to have the same kind of punch as they do when the Earth Spirit shows up. Earth Spirit gets a kill and gets a magnetize onto the 2 of them, and might actually take out Q if you could hit him with another boulder, but Q's going to TP back and make sure the damage isn't done. But Fishman is currently looking to steal a Wisdom rune, and Aurora, they got to act fast. They know this is happening right now. Lorinoff, he's going to challenge and manage to fisher back Fishman, so they'll be able to secure it for themselves.
I think if you study this team, you should know Fishman is going to contest your Wisdom rune at this point.
Every time. The man does not fear death.
He will be there. No matter what happens, he will be there. It's just a question of how much do you get out of it versus how much he gets out of it.
True.
Look at the split here. And I think Katayomi, happy about that. This is a support that, if you get through the early game, he is incredibly powerful, and he scales very hard. You saw how confident they were in this hero. Not a hero that's being picked up a lot, but in theory, he kind of fits what you want out of some heroes this patch. He can push out lanes and farm very fast. He has good lane shove and nuke capability. Strong in the team fight. Good healing save potential. One of these backline supports that if you eventually get into the Ags or Orchid, stuff like this, is a huge threat to cores as this game goes late. I conceptually like Wyvern this patch. I think just mechanically the hero can suffer in some of the early games of the pace that gets set up. Like if you get run over on this hero, it can feel pretty sluggish. But right now, you're looking at this Wyvern's net worth. He is living the dream right now.
I guess the thing that I don't like about the Wyvern so much is that I feel like, does Cold Embrace have that much value in a meta where all of the carries have a lot of mixed damage, right? Whether or not they have their own round of nukes like the Luna and the Mirana and the Wind Ranger have, right? They all have some magic damage to throw around, but they're also building a lot of Gleipnirs, right? So even their attacks are throwing in a lot of magic damage. Is that at all a concern for you?
I think it's nice to have Burst the Wyvern, but I think there's another component that I like about this hero, which is we're seeing a lot of frontline spellcast brawlers.
Okay.
Centaurs, Earth Spirits, these types of big tanky heroes that go in Kunkas. The heal's really nice on them.
The blast is not going to be enough. Hit him with the double edge, but a roll in from no one might be able to collect it. No, he rolls past him and straight into the arena. Now he does manage to get off and magnetize. It's not going to be enough damage to take out 23 Savage. Katayomi and DM on the run. They made a heavy commitment to try and kill that carry of 23 Savage. It seems like he just had too much HP, where they just completely underestimated how much 23 Savage was able to take there.
And no one just didn't see the TPs in the trees. Just goes into his own demise as they're even going to pick up Katayomi. slay him and spew his corpse over the battlefield here. Very pivotal power rune as well for Lornoff. He's had power rune control, and it's done a decent amount for him in terms of keeping the Shaker's resources up on the map. Allows him to make some of these moves. Honestly, this Shaker is having a pretty good early game considering how the lane went. Even if you have to steal some stacks, this is some extra juice as long as you get out.
He is going to be caught for it, though. Kicked over his own Fisher, hit by the ensnare. Now the Eclipse is going to be put to use to quickly kill Lornoff's Shaker and try and chase for more. Now it's Aurora, who are going to be on the run with a lot of catch on the side of Cloud9. Very likely they can get multiple kills out of this one. A good spear back might be able to spare Jabs his life, but he has been slowed down to a crawl. A roll that doesn't land, but a little mini stun and a Splinter Blast slow. That'll be enough for the dive past the mid-tier 1 tower for Watson's triple kill.
This is the power of Luna. She can join anything in the early game once you have those beam points up, and at the same time you're threatening a huge amount of scale on this hero. You start losing fights to Luna, she just takes over the map. She massively outfarms you with the glaives. She takes objectives, buffs up the team. Watson is in prime carry position now. 4K gold lead, tier 1 mid dead. We have seen this before with Aurora though. I mean, if there's one thing about this team that they do better than almost anybody else, it's probably, you know, maybe lose the early game. But outside of that,
they're really good at losing the early game.
It is recover in the mid to late, right?
Yep.
That is where they always shine. They can push the games late. They can hit their point, you know, somewhere between that 40, 60 minute mark and just slowly grind to there where they suddenly turn that game around. Can never count this team out.
Yeah, I mean, we had a rule when we were casting the CTPC was that, like, if Aurora, as they were, what, Talon or T1 back then, it was like, if they were winning the early game, then, you know, that was actually cause for concern.
Yeah, get worried.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst thing you can see as a Aurora fan is a 6K net worth lead.
Exactly. You want these guys to be behind, and they're coming into the series behind as potentially the underdogs against Cloud9, and now they're down 5,000 net worth and more to go as DM's going to take this tower for free.
The one concern with the comeback potential is, I mean, part of it's this Mirana. Like, how much is 23 going to be able to recover with a hero that isn't necessarily a huge flash farmer? Like, you don't have glaives, you can't do ancient stacks like a Sven or something. We're going to see an Echo Slam to farm out all of this, get Lornoff to his Blink Dagger. So this is some recovery farm, but again, it's not going to the Mirana, so 22 is going to have to make it up in the fights later on. And a big question is, like, how much can you commit into the fight with this kind of lineup from Aurora into multiple saves and just team fight stops? You have Song, you have Embrace, you have a Silence out of Earth Spirit, you have Stampede that can reset some heroes. Like, you go in with this Echo Slam and Kisses, and you just throw a Wyvern's Curse on top of the Shaker. It's one of those old school counters to the hero, honestly, that's miserable to play into. The Wyvern always can interrupt your chain stun combination, bail out Watson if he needs to get a BKB off, stuff like this. This Wyvern's going to be a big priority for Aurora, and on top of that, they have to worry about Naga, who can also bail out the fight. Yeah. So these two supports are going to be straight bullseyes for Aurora if they can get on top of him and take him out at the start of the fight.
Do you think that means that BKBs are particularly important for Aurora because they have these combo heroes in the Earthshaker and the Mars, you know, setting up an arrow afterwards? Like, they have so much combo, but because there's two combo breakers on the side of Cloud9 coming from the supports, they kind of need BKBs?
You have learned nothing.
I think yes, but you have to get them at the right point in the game, right? Like, you do not want to get BKBs too early here. And then go into the late game having them wear down and you don't have them for pivotal Roshan fights, stuff like that. It's a very fine line to walk. I think the other route is you get more mobility and gap close so you can find these supports at the start of the fight, right? Get Jabs in a position where you can arena these supports, lock them in a cage. Then those BKBs become way more straightforward. The other thing is these heroes on Aurora's side are not super early BKB buyers. Like, you need at least 1 or 2 damage and farming items on Mirana. You need this Blink on Shaker into Ags if you want to, you know, scale and farm a bit better. Second item BKB is optional, but you're still fighting into the Wyvern Curse, which, like, Shaker going in with BKB getting cursed does not feel great.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting puzzle to see how they solve. You could also just go for more utility, things like Lotus Orbs or Yule Scepters to kind of try and control what these two supports are going to be able to do on the side of Cloud9. But I think the real thing is Katayomi is not afraid to scale on this hero. So while you're worrying about the control in the fight, at some point he will have Blink, Ags, Bloodthorn, I don't know, whatever he wants.
Man, look at the efficiency here. Cloud9 stacking up in multiple areas as the 14-minute mark approaches while they're still making plays here. No one's going to be able to roll away as the song comes out from Fishman.
Does have a shield rune.
DM, he doesn't approach, they actually wait for the curse. That's what they're going for. They do hit the arena, but inside of the arena is this eclipsed up Watson who looks to finish off Lornoff, and he's got him dead.
Just couldn't do anything there with the shaker.
Just kite it out constantly. They'll collect the extra kill in Ollie, who cannot run for his life. Dream Protector being far too slow for that.
Man, I always forget that that new curse has Dispel built into it. I think Lornoff felt a lot more confident with shield rune sitting on top of there, and then poof, it is gone.
Yeah, no wonder they didn't try and combo off the stomp. Kataomi was making the call. No, let me curse him first. I mean, get rid of that shield rune and put him together.
And I think Cloud9 always makes sure they have stuff to combo off this curse. It's a big component to the hero. Like, even if you land a 2 or 3-man curse, you want to be able to punish Aurora for a clumped into that spell. Having AoE stuns, AoE silence. Well, okay.
Well, Lornoff gets his revenge at least, comes back to life, and instantly Blink Echo slams the solo Kataomi.
It shows you how much he is despising the Wyvern interaction so far this game. And honestly, I feel like you might take that over the course of this game. Like, if you can just kill this Wyvern at the start of any sort of fight, even if it costs you Echo Slam, might be worth the trade.
Aurora have yet to be able to take a tier 1 tower off the map. And that struggle will continue as no one sets up to defend his safe lane tower and catches out the Dream Protector, who was left behind. The other 2 cores had already backed out. Honestly, Aurora's not even trying to get towers away. They're just trying to conserve their own part of the map as much as possible.
Did recover 23 into an okay position here, though. Like, you are not going to keep up with Watson, given the start he had in the stacks and the farming power of Luna, but Mirana's doing better than I thought he was going to be.
Stampede used, trying to chase off Lornoff. Between the stun, they do manage to get him inside the arena here, so Watson can't do any damage with his hits, and he does not opt to use the Eclipse to try and get the kill. Some kisses go out. Fishman able to dodge a little bit with the illusions. Jab's still going to try and hunt him down, though. He's got a Blink Dagger coming up, gets in melee range, hits him with a spear to finish him off.
Very nice finds from Jabs. That Blink just got delivered before that fight. Instantly gets 2 kills out of it. I mean, honestly, this is the strength of Aurora, right? Like, you can be up against this team, you can feel like you're controlling the map, scaling, but they find these little openings and grind this net worthly down. Suddenly, it's not looking the worst for them. This Earth Spirit's really been slowed down in this game, despite investment into the early fighting items between the Vessel pickup and the Blade Mail, these type of items that are supposed to be winning you these early fights. You're supposed to be really tanky on this mid Earth Spirit. You're just kind of getting melted to the totem hits and some of the extra magic damage.
Now, being that you're both NA legends, you and Fear, usually on the same page when it comes to Dota, but I noticed...
That is not an accurate statement you should have said. I rebut that statement just for the record. Do not
a North American legend in Avery Silverman.
Sure, man. Not my words. Just for the... Again, that is Austin Walsh.
Yes, that was me. I'm calling you a North American legend. Now, when you guys talk Dota, usually you're on the same page. I noticed, though, that Fear did not believe in the Mirana carry whatsoever, and you thought Mirana might be one of the heroes of the tournament going into this, particularly since for one of the things you cited was the flex power, being able to run carry and support.
I like Mirana support better than core.
Okay. So you also are maybe not loving the Mirana carry?
I think it's felt a little weak.
Okay.
I think a lot of these ranged carries are getting figured out a bit, so that's part of the issue. But it just feels a little slow to me. Like, you really need to go late with this hero, and I think another big component is you need a lineup that utilizes it well. And there's a lot of pieces of that to figure out, as Ollie's going to drop. Like, you need frontline for this hero, which I think sometimes is missing. You also, I think, need other heroes that benefit from the Solar Flare. Like, I don't think you want a lineup with Mirana where she's the only one using Solar Flare in a fight.
And she doesn't have that in this game, right? Like, really not that much value in Solar Flare.
Exactly. I think they do have the front line, which I like. And this hero can do it on its own. But I almost feel like it's an old Drow Ranger strategy in some respect.
Okay.
You know, you want the frontline hero like the Tide or Underlord or whatever it was at the time, and then you want the other pseudo right clicker like a Puck or Storm or whatever, you know, gives you some initiation and can benefit from the Solar Flare. That's my kind of gut read. I think it's hard to figure out, but I do like Mirana support. I think it's quite good.
Okay. So you are on the same page with Fear?
No, Fear's entirely wrong, but
okay.
He's legendary according to you, so I can't.
Wait, I thought you were refuting the fact that you are a North American legend. You're refuting the fact that Fear is a North American legend. I understand now. 11-6, 8,000 net worth lead for Cloud9. they continue to stay in the driver's seat. They own more of the map. And this is also what happens when you get ahead and you have a Naga Siren support. I mean, Naga Siren just in general, but you know, he's spilling these illusions onto your side of the map. He's constantly getting information about what Aurora is up to. It's very hard for Aurora to be able to make any offensive moves, which is maybe why they're turtling so much. They're also turtling so much because that's kind of what Aurora does.
They're just trying to get to their BKBs. They're going triple BKB here. That's what they've opted for. They're all going to come out kind of around the same time here. They're actually getting pretty close on all three. That'll be a big power spike for them. If they can translate the triple BKB into a teamfight win into Roche, that is something that could completely put them back in this game on even footing.
Is this the right timing? Because you said, you know, yes, the BKBs are important, but you don't want to be getting them too early. They're getting them all second item, right? We're not even finishing up Gleipnir first on the Mirana.
I mean, maybe they've just felt like the teamfights are going to be too hard without them.
Okay.
And I can agree with that. But like I said, you know, if you get these early BKBs, you go in that fight, you lose it, it's going to feel real bad. So you're going to have to make good use of them, find the openings. A lot of it is on jabs. Get him into a good position where either vision or smoke allows him to find a solid initiation on ideally one of the supports or a big core. The power of the triple BKB is you can ignore the supports to a degree. Like Naga doesn't do anything in that interval, and the Wyvern can interrupt that play.
But only on the single target, not anybody caught
Right.
the AoE.
This is not a, you know, multiple BKB piercing ult like it used to be.
Yeah.
You have to keep that in mind.
Which also makes the curse very, very, like, it's a very small duration if you don't get anybody in it.
Yep. It's irrelevant, basically.
Yeah.
But that is something that forces Aurora to pre-BKB almost, right? Like when you jump in with all these cores, you have to BKB early in these fights.
Yeah.
And that might not happen. Like, players are pretty greedy with this item.
Both teams are going to take their Tormentor very early here.
That's also a big component of the team fight for Aurora. The Greaves we just saw come out on the Snapfire.
Yeah.
Q has been building up. This is maybe the most important team fight item they're going to get in this early game. It's the one big aura they'll have. It's the extra armor's nice versus Luna Naga, and it's a dispel for the Earth Spirit that is going to help the Snapfire survive in the fight. So
This is really awkward. I feel like if you're hitting this BKB timing, one of the ideas behind it is being able to play for Roshan, or at least contest Roshan, right?
Ideally,
because you
yeah.
have all this team fight, and they're not going to be able to do it. In fact, they're trying to hunt on the other side of the map, go for Kateomi here, but with his Blink Dagger, he managed to get away from the scouting kisses that were coming out. So Cloud9 will get this completely uncontested, and Aurora didn't get that much out of it in return.
just a heads up Roche play. Abusing the fact that Watson is just so far ahead here. 7-0-0.
It's huge.
He is cruising through this game and right on track where you want to be with the levels as well. Almost level 20 at the 22-minute mark. Power of Ancient farming. He is well ahead of the pack. Now, you know, everything in Dota is a double-edged sword. If this Luna does manage to die in a push, there's going to be a lot of experience going Aurora's way. But it's a big target to take down. BKB arrives for jabs. Continues to hunt here. Cloud9, not interested in pushing too aggressively. Just going to play it a bit slower, farm, maybe look for the Luna level 20. And I would assume they make some kind of smoke play with the Earth Spirit taking the lead and try and crash somewhere around mid. Just snowball it into some tier 2 pushes, something natural like this. Might be waiting for no one's BKB. He has been suffering in the early team fights, and he's very close to that item.
Yeah. It really has struck me how much Cloud9 are trying to play very farm efficient. Again, like every single time on the minute mark, we're seeing multiple heroes stacking up neutrals for themselves to be able to farm. Do you think this is, is this part of Cloud9's general playstyle, or do you think this is something you specifically employ against Aurora, knowing they like to turtle and like games to go long?
I mean, Aurora are definitely not a team that's going to steal your stack, so
yeah.
You're not worried about that component.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
I think it's just the lineup more than anything. Like, when you have Luna, you need to have these ancient stacks off cooldown, basically.
Sure, but I'm saying they're stacking other neutrals, and it's not for the Luna.
Well, Naga also is good at it, although Watson going to get jumped. I mean, he does have Aegis here.
He managed to get off the Lucent Beam first, and yeah, he's got a BKB and an Aegis. This is really just not a good target for Aurora, but if they can get the Eclipse off and still not lose anybody for it, well,
backside of the fight.
Dead. They are still going to go and engage on the rest of the heroes. The curse! Right as 23 Savage was trying to go for the backline supports. He's still going for it, but now the Cold Embrace is going to bail out Kataomi, and this Mirana is in trouble now as no one's going to try and hunt him down. He got the support, that he was searching for. Kataomi finally died, but look at, DM recognizes Kataomi completely saved that back half of the fight for Cloud9.
That almost was a disaster for Cloud9. If the Shaker Mirana did what they wanted to do there, which is, Echo slam that backline, and 23 did pop BKB early, so he was just going to go to town with Solar Flare. But a very clutch curse hit the Mirana in her BKB, and Shaker did not use his. So this is where those BKBs, you really have to commit them early. Otherwise, they come back to bite you, and not the best interactions for Watson, but Wyvern salvages the backside of this.
I mean, you've got two cores gunning for a support here. That leaves the rest of the heroes completely open for Aurora to contest if they could get the initiation, but because of Kataomi's Winner's Curse there, completely stopping the play there from 23 Savage, and then also the Cold Embrace just stalled things out even further.
It's a completely different fight if Shaker or pre-BKBs.
Yeah.
Because then that curse lasts half the duration. The Mirana gets to play the fight a lot more. This is the biggest decision-making process for Aurora in this game, is when you pop these items. It determines a lot of the team fight, and, well, Gabe says this game is very one-sided. I don't know if it's that one-sided, but we can definitely see this lineup powering up for Cloud9, and...
What would you give the number?
I mean, that was 89-11.
Yeah, would you get 80-20?
87-13.
All right, 23 Savage is going to be forced to use BKB defensively here.
That's right.
And for now, the Ensnare does not stop him. We'll see if there's ever going to be an Aghanim Scepter for the Naga Siren support. But Watson, the game may just end before that point, because he's got a minute left on the Aegis. Very clearly, he is posturing to go high ground here. And we'll see whether or not Aurora are able to pull off the ultimate turtle defense here against a 12,000 net worth lead on Cloud9.
Just don't have 23 Savage's BKB. It's so hard to go into the 2 lives of Watson here. 45 seconds on this Aegis. You could wait it out. Just give up some buildings, look for the better team fight.
It seems like that's what they want to do, especially with the living armor slowing down Watson's damage on the tier 3.
This is not bad. If you can kind of push through this period, get your cooldowns back. Still struggling to find openings in the fights. They're looking at no one. Actually got him.
Got him before the roll, but the arrow is going to miss. Tried to chain it with the Gleipnir there, but the animation too slow.
The thing is, this is the part of the game where I just feel like Naga makes your fight impossible. You can't find him at the start of the fight, and he's got his first item in this Solar Crest. Everything he gets past this point is just deadly, right? Like, if you get to Greaves, if you get to the Shard, it's so much healing, so much stall. You can always bail somebody out. It's incredibly difficult to team fight into. They're going to find no one. Oh.
No one. On the high ground. Spot him with the kisses. The spear goes out and does manage to stun him while keeping him there in that spot. The kisses will not be enough damage, but the Echo Slam is. And he went for Fishman too. So he's got him down to half HP. The Stampede's going to be used in the arena. Catches Fishman before he can slip away into the river.
No one not happy about that play at all. That cliff did him no favors. Just gets 5-second arrowed, and you're sitting there getting kissed on the whole duration of a song. Basically the best type of setup for Aurora. Find an isolated core at the start. The Centaur can't really do anything to bail him out. Also, he's stuck on the cliff, so he can't stampede anywhere.
Yep.
Just incredibly awkward.
Yeah, really awkward. I don't know what, which of the interactions it was, but him getting speared but not actually getting pulled down the cliff.
Yeah.
Right? Because it still pinned him to the tree, but he got stuck in that spot. That happens with certain interactions of spells.
He got speared to fissure.
Yeah.
I think so. Or maybe a tree, I don't know.
I think it was the tree behind it.
Yeah, maybe.
Area.
It was weird. If he got speared down that cliff, it would have been better for him. Yeah, it was probably the tree. Either way, he tanked the arrow, and then your fate's kind of sealed. No BKB pop for the Earth Spirit. Shield room for Lornov, and pushing towards that Ags. I mean, Aurora continuing to grind out some small wins in this game.
Yeah, I mean,
that is their MO.
They're slowly falling farther and farther behind in net worth, but they are getting certain items that could maybe allow them to turn the game around.
I'm honestly impressed with how much Jabs has found this game. I think he's played it quite well. From how tough their position has been to try and find these openings versus double save lineup with a Mars. It's not easy, and he has found a lot of net worth as well. It's going to be really important for Aurora as this game goes later and later, because if this Mars can get something like Hex into Refresher, then suddenly, you have 2 BKBs to play with. You can go and spear somebody and Hex the Naga to prevent a song going off. These type of multi-control plays are something that could break the team fight later on. But you need the gold to get there.
You need the gold to get there, and then that is also some high execution stuff.
It is, but right. I mean, that is what Aurora is known for. High execution in the late game, until you take your hands off the keyboard.
That is all theory, though, while Cloud9 have a pretty tight grip on the game and continue to just scale up on every single one of their heroes. See Kataomi, healthy net worth lead ahead of any of the other supports. You've got Watson, who is just scaling and scaling and scaling, and I feel like he is about to get peak Luna.
Yeah, he's getting there.
Which, maybe at that point in time, you're going to get a little bit more serious about ending the game. This last Aegis push, they didn't even try and really use the Aegis for that high ground. Seems like they are content to let the game go to a second Roshan, which is going to spawn a little bit later here. Longer Roshan spawn time, 2 minutes till it shows up. Cloud9 smoke and try and find a pick-off to set themselves up for a free Roshan play.
They love the Mirana here. Might have to settle for support, and they'll take it. Nothing bad about this. Get to control some of the map. More.
This 23 Savage's Arrow Gleipnir play is just really not lining up for him in this game so far.
I mean, you know what he's doing, though.
What is he doing?
Psychological warfare, Austin. You missed the first 8, then they assume you're not going to hit it. And then when you need to hit it in the fight, bam, it's right there.
I mean, it is true. Every single one of these Arrow Gleipnirs that is missed hasn't really mattered too much. Exactly. I feel like it's just been like, whatever. They weren't really
Savage
kill that
playing
guy.
the long game.
These guys think I'm terrible.
How's it that bad, actually? What? how is it that bad? Is this like neutral creep misses or something?
Oh my god, we brought it back. Dota 1 Legends. Dash HA, hook accuracy.
I do miss that.
A command all the way back from Dota 1 you could use. We have it live here at TI.
I'll be honest, I do miss that Fada arrow number 218.
Fada arrow number
That's
578.
A good one. That's some legacy memeage, you know what I'm saying?
Say goodbye to my brother, arrow number 579.
23 Savage, arrow number 52. Sailing off the map. It's a bigger map now too, so it sails farther.
That's true, that's true. Satanic almost done for Watson. My goodness, he completes it now.
He was thinking about like Hurricane Pike. I'm sure maybe Butterfly Dados were options, but Satanic just seems the safest here, especially when you have heals and bailout spells, right? Like a lot that can, if you try to get focused as Luna, then you stop the fight with Song or a Curse. Pop BKB Satanic, reheal up, makes total sense to me, and you're just gunning for this Dex Roche.
I legitimately have a very hard time seeing how Aurora can win this next fight.
Hex on Jabs.
If there is an Aegis on Luna.
Hex on Jabs. That is all I'm looking at. This Mars has to make the big plays. He has to find a really nice arena, get a solid Hex down, and open up the fight for the Marauder and Shaker to pop early BKBs and just get in there.
They're pushing out the smoke. Aurora. They are going to try and wrap around, but Watson drew an exact line of what Aurora was going to do here. They are well prepared for this move. They're going to get spotted. No one's going to break the smoke. Doesn't get hit by the arrow. Once again, another miss. Jabs, BKB, and instantly goes for it. Goes straight to the Luna. They have to be able to burst him down here. There's the Curse and the Embrace resetting, and Watson, now he has a chance to be able to both use his Manta and his Satanic. This is not a carry that's going to be brought down early. Lorenov goes for the kill onto the Winter Wyvern and tries to jump away, but he's still caught in the area of the Eclipse. Watson brings him down and looks for the enemy carry of 23 Savage, who is out of lead charges, and one Lucent Beam cuts down the rest of his HP.
Oh, those beams are so deadly, man, at this point in the game. They just do so much damage with the Conda on top of all of it, and I mean, that fight was maybe not the cleanest for Cloud9. I think Aurora got a pretty solid jump, but Embrace, man, just bails this Luna out of the one-on-one against the BKB Mirana, and there's nothing 23 can do but look on as Watson prepares to come out of it and heal straight back up. No one will sacrifice his life, but that is a team fight win that Cloud9 are happy to take here and push base with it.
That'll be a lane of barracks, and they can back up to do Roshan kind of at their leisure. And if Aurora want to try and take another Roshan engagement, by all means. Cloud9 are actually not going to back up. They still have 30 seconds left for 23 Savage, so they'll go for a second lane here.
I mean, Aurora missing ults. This next team fight is not necessarily easy if Cloud9 want to commit for another lane, but safe play is go Roshan here. You just got a lot of big items. Shiva's on the Earth Spirit, Greaves for the Naga, BKB for the Winter Wyvern. 3 very strong defensive items just arriving for Cloud9 here. Why not continue the siege? No Echo Slam.
Jabs.
Morana.
He gets spotted by Kataomi, so he's not going to be making any initiation anytime soon. His Blink Dagger put on cooldown by the hits.
Can look for like a Fissure and a Spear
All
back.
5 heroes back up. They don't go for the spear back at DM.
Oh, that's
he hits
tough.
the back line with a beautiful stomp, and no one rolls in after him. Hits a beautiful magnetize onto 4. They almost managed to burst down Watson. This time it was
23?
much closer, but 23 Savage jumps after him, and he's not going to get it. He turns to kill the support, but his life is forfeit in the process.
DM just beautifully interrupts that entire engagement for Aurora, and the spear back is nowhere near clean enough. That is just the game, I think.
Yeah.
These glaives are just going to rip through your base. Man, Cloud9, I mean, this is a team that when they get their lineups rolling and this ball starts to hit, it is very difficult to take the 5-on-5s. And I think we saw the frustration in the team fights here from Aurora. There were glimpses of what their lineup can do, but ultimately, you're just fighting into so many saves, so many resets, and Luna, her early game was so strong that Watson is well ahead of the Mirage.